Well, a lot of high school graduates this spring will be heading to college in the fall. And while the planning to fund that college education likely started years ago, it might not have started soon enough. Statistics found by the Minnesota College Savings Plan found that the average savings account had $18,000 in it. Joining me now is Robert Stern from the Minnesota College Savings Plan. And those who are, about to go to college know that $18,000 doesn't always fund the full education.
Right, that's a good point. That won't even get you through tuition at most universities. But I always say that every dollar that you save is one less dollar that you have to borrow, and that can really be significant because student debt is just a huge problem for so many students and their families, really. So.
And is there a point where you should start saving? Obviously, the sooner the better.
You're right. I mean, if you can start the plan right when your child is born, that's ideal. But if you haven't done that, it's not too late. I mean, in a sense, whenever you get started is fine. It's hard to go backwards. So, but the advantage of starting early is that time is on your side. The money can compound. One real quick example would be if you were to put $2,000 in every year for 18 years, and you received a 6% return, which is about pretty reasonable, you'd have $68,000 at the end of the 18 years. That could make a big difference.
Absolutely. So explain to me what the Minnesota College Savings Plan is.
Right. So the Minnesota College Savings Plan is the state's 529 plan, and every state, except for one or two, has one. Some states have more than one. Ours has been in existence since 2001, and it's administered by the Minnesota Office of Higher Education. That agency handles financial aid, student loans, a program called Get Ready, which helps kids go to college, and the 529 plan is one of the plans that it handles. And so it's terrific. It's a terrific plan.
So when you're a parent starting to save for your child's college education, are there certain plans that are more beneficial than others, or is it really just important to start saving any way you can?
Well, certainly any type of savings is good. We would never discourage people from saving in any way. But as far as these 529 plans go, the first thing to do is check the fee structure. One of the beautiful things about Minnesota's plan is it has one of the lowest fee structures in the country. So that means more of your money can go into investing. But I know you have viewers in Wisconsin. Now, residents in Wisconsin would want to look at the Wisconsin plan because they provide a tax deduction for all Wisconsin residents. So that would certainly be an advantage. You'd want to check into that. One other thing, if your viewers were to go into a financial advisor's office, say in Ameriprise, where I used to work, most of the time they will not mention the Minnesota plan because our plan is direct sold, so we do not provide commissions to financial advisors. So if you just rely on the advisor, you might wind up in Virginia's plan, which pays them a 6% commission. So something to kind of watch out for.
Yeah, very good to know. And I'm sure some people wondering, if they do go ahead and start saving and have a large amount of money in that savings account by the time their child heads to college, wondering if that money works against them when they're applying for their school's financial aid.
That's just a terrific question, and it's a huge misconception. The short answer is no. The first $75,000 or so that you save basically doesn't figure into the FAFSA formula. There's a form called a FAFSA that all financial aid recipients need to fill out. So that's one thing that often stops people. They think, oh, well, that will hurt me, but it really truly doesn't. So don't let that be a barrier.
Yeah, and lastly, is there any sort of magic number when you're saving for your child's education, a number you want to be at before they graduate high school?
Well, the average, as you mentioned in the lead-in, in our accounts is about $18,000. We'd obviously like to see that number a little bit higher, but the key thing in the financial aid formula is what's called the parent contribution. So it's really kind of a puzzle. You have to look at the work study, any low interest subsidized loans you might get, any grants. There are lots of private schools will put grants into the equation so that the whole price comes down. So the key is the parent contribution. So in my example before, if you saved $68,000, which would be terrific, you'd have $17,000 to go to each year. That could eat up most of the parent contribution. But even the average that we have of 18, it still gives people about $4,500 to work with each year. So it's less money that you have to borrow. Yeah,
interesting stuff this morning. Robert, thank you so much for joining us. If you want to learn more about the Minnesota College Savings Plan, you can head to www.mnsaves.org. We'll also list that on our website as well.